What do collards mean to me? Collards to me are a reminder of the great women in my family, my grandmothers and great grandmothers cooking, bringing sustenance to our home. Some of my first memories uh, as a child is clearing a pot of greens with my grandma. And I thought I was special. We'd sit there and eat a pot of greens and talk for hours. And until it was done, it was gone. And I found out that all of my cousins and siblings, each one of us at some point in time, had sat with Grandma Gert and cleared an entire massive pot of greens and just talked. Collard greens are a reminder of those moments. My grandmother liked mustard and turnips. And and I think collards as well. I think collards for me, I almost exclusively cook collards. Um, and I think it's my way of honoring all of these things and yet still finding my own addition to the family pot. I hope that my children will use both. I do use turnip and mustard, but there's just something special about collards. I don't know. My kids like both. Um, Maybe that's the beauty of the generations to come is, you know, maybe that's what they'll remember. One of the things they'll remember is mom making collard greens and how she made greens a little different than grandma and great grandma. And yet with still great, with great sustenance, love nonetheless. That's my thought on collard greens.
Jim Embry here. Hello from our family farm here in Madison County, Kentucky, which we have cared for and farmed organically since the early 1800s. I come from 5 generations of agrarian intellectual activists who have all used greens in one fashion or another. We have utilized greens as medicinal plants like plantain and witch hazel. We have gathered wild greens such as poke, dandelion, and lamb's quarter. And we have seeded greens like mustard, kale, and collards. We have a special affection for collards because they grow so big, they can feed so many people, and we can harvest them from spring to winter. Here is my winter kale collards here. So may the force of collards be with you. Bye.
Hi, I'm Sonia Harris, and I'm from South Jersey. I love collard greens. That is one vegetable I cannot do without. I am so proud to be able to grow them for my family and for myself every single year. It's important because as a person of African descent, there's not a lot that we have that ties us back to our actual tribe, our actual country, pinpointed where in Africa our genealogy begins. However, we know that we are united by foods. And it's so important for me. When I was little, I would sit down with my mom and you had to wash those greens. You had to soak them in the sink. You had to wash them to get the sand or grit, as she called it. Can't have no grit in your greens. And we'd slice them. And she taught me how to roll them and slice them. Or the time I was with my aunt, and my aunt would say, "Oh no, honey, we have to cut that rind out." So we had to cut that rind out of the greens, then we could slice them up. Or being with my grandma, and my grandma would always soak hers with some apple cider vinegar, and she knew we didn't eat pork, so she would always cook hers with turkey neck. And just being able to sit with the women who were in my family and take that journey is what connects me so much to this crop that sustained my ancestors who were enslaved, and also my ancestors who were growing this back somewhere in Western Africa.
I love growing collard greens because it reminds me of my childhood. Collard greens have been a staple in my family. It's something my grandmother cooked. It's something my grandfather cooked. It's something my mom cooked and my dad cooks. It's easy to grow. I've grown it since I was a child. It's a beautiful plant. Some of the best flowers for honeybees and bumblebees. It's flexible. The flexibility of using collard greens in Asian foods and American foods, Central American foods, and Southeast Indian foods. It has a lot of flexibility. It's great for cooking stews. I love growing collard green seeds, collecting and saving those. I like sharing them with family. I like sharing them with friends and neighbors and some of the cooperative groups that I work with. One being specifically Ujamaa Farm.
Hi, I'm Samaria.
I'm Blaine.
And we are the owner-operators of Juniper's Garden, which is a herb and veggie farm in Brandywine, Maryland.
And we are very excited to be a part of the Heirloom Collard Project. I'm looking forward to possibly having 2, if not 3 varieties to steward. Collards are very important to traditional African American folk food lore, as well as foodways across the South and in the U.S. more broadly. And I love to cook, and my new favorite cookbook is called Jubilee, and Jubilee has dozens of recipes with collard greens in them. And fresh collard greens after the first frost of fall are the best tasting, and I'm very excited to be a part of the project.
Hi, I'm Diane, and I live in Southern Maryland. What do collards mean to me? Collards mean joy. I have had the opportunity, thanks to Ujamaa Farming, to go plant 5 different varieties of collards at various community gardens. One of varieties I was able to plant at my church garden, William Alexander Collards. I also have the opportunity to volunteer at the food pantry at my church. Well, we have a couple of folks that just love collards. They love greens of any kind. I had the opportunity to share my first harvest of the William Alexander Collards with one of our clients. And the next time he came to visit, he said, "Remember those collards you gave me?" He said, "They were the best collards I ever tasted." The joy on his face just made me so happy that I was able to share with the produce that was given to me. So I look forward to being able to harvest more collards and share produce with the people in local food banks and local food pantries and spread the joy.